Okay, I'm going to show you some pictures of how I made Uncle Bubba Franklin's head and a little bit more about his body. Um, but this is a sculpture made out of clay. It's like modeling clay. It's a non-hardening type you can get from craft stores. And I believe it was my wife and daughter had started on a project, and I took it over and made Uncle Bubba. And I'm not a sculptor, so I had an interesting time trying to do this. But this is in a real rough form, and I just kept working at it until I got him a little more refined. And this is what he looks like in pretty much a finished state. And there's that's really the same view there. It's another shot of him and backside of his head. Interesting bulbous head with some strange ears. And this is a side shot and another side shot. Here we go. And this is his the clay model and the frontal look on him. And now here it shows him in a form where I had already painted the clay model with silicone rubber, and had to provide a way to um, support the silicone for the casting resin. And I don't remember all the details of exactly how I did this, but you know, had to get the silicone on the clay, then had to have a way to get the silicone off of the clay model, and um, and then support it with a casting resin material, excuse me, a plaster-like material on the outside to support the silicone. And I believe this clay was just stuck on the surface of the silicone. And here's another look at that. And obviously doesn't look very good in that form. Now this is with some aluminum foil on top of the clay, and I think what we did was put the foil on one side of the clay, and then over here is what he looked like from the front with that. You can see it's foil there. And then I took him and used this material here. It's called Plasti Paste. I believe all these materials I bought from Smooth On Company. It's been a while since I bought their materials. I'm assuming they're still doing this, but their material's really pretty good. I don't have any problem with them. The silicone rubber or the this material, and that gives it support so the mold will hold its shape while you're pouring casting resin. I just had it outside here. Really don't even remember why, but that was just another shot of it. Now here shows it with poured full of casting resin. And as you can see, you know, this mold here, this Plasti Paste material, I've got it split because when I put it on one side of that foil, then you take that off and put it on the other side, and it makes a way to separate the parts of this thing. And otherwise, you'd have a hard time getting it all apart. And this shows the clay model with the filled mold, and I got bungee cord just kind of holding it all together. And this is the clay model with the cast resin. I think I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it might have been an acrylic. It could have been polyurethane. I don't remember. It's a casting resin you can buy from Smooth On. This is the silicone rubber mold peeled off, and you can see the ear didn't turn out quite right, but you can patch these things after the fact if you have a little issue like air bubbles or something like that. So that's really no problem. This is a look at Uncle Bubba with his head painted. I believe I painted most of his head, and then I think my daughter painted his eyes to help me out a little bit, her being an artist. And my wife also helped with this project. They're both artists. This is again what Uncle Bubba looked like from the frontal view of his torso showing, and this is his face in finished format, and that's what he looks like basically today. And this is just a view of the back side of him, showing the bottom of the air cylinder, how it would attach to that rocking chair. And This is the front of them with no head. Don't have any of the air compressor or anything like that attached at this time. The one time I had the air compressor in a separate, like an old wooden barrel, but I decided it made more sense to try and include it on the chair. And we'll show you some more pictures of what that looked like here later. This is a shot of Uncle Bubba next to another project of mine, a Paul Revere light that comes on when you walk in from a motion detector. And so Uncle Bubba would do his thing rock when you'd come in, and Paul Revere would turn on his light, and it's kind of cool. And this is a frontal view showing that. And then what we'll do is another view here. I think from here we'll go and show you some pictures of how the air compressor and and how we made the floor mat switch, activating, things like that. Thank you. These were some of the leftover materials I used to sculpt Uncle Bubba Franklin's head. Unfortunately, most of it's already been disposed of, used up and disposed of, but these items here, all that rebound silicone rubber, there's 2 components to it, and there's a thickening agent for it if you need a little more viscous. Just a little bit of this Smooth Cast 300, the casting resin that I used for to cast the head after I had made the silicone rubber mold of the clay model. And this is a release agent which works real well, so you can get the silicone rubber off and the cast head out of the silicone rubber, that sort of thing. So anyway, just an idea of the kind of things that you can get and use to make this thing. And I think that's about all I've got right now. Okay, what I'd like to do is show you how Uncle Bubba blah blah blue blah blah blue. Well, now that I've sort of unscrambled my thoughts, I can talk a little bit. I'm going to tell you, just give you some pointers on how I made Uncle Bubba Franklin and how you can do it yourself. And we'll get into a little more detail, but first of all, he's air actuated. I would not do it that way again. It's way more complicated, adds a lot of issues to it. I would use electric actuators, and there is no question that in my mind would simplify trying to make something like this. Okay, I'm going to show you try to show you how Uncle Bubba Franklin works, how I made him. And since he's already made, it's a little hard just to take it all back apart to do this video, but I'm going to show you what I can. First of all, let's start out with this matte switch that activates him. And as you can see, this is not working too well. There we go. Okay, the matte switch I made by taking some tubing and attaching underneath this, just plain basic format. Filling it with liquid. In this case, I got an alcohol water solution. And in here, I've got a low pressure, I think it's a 3 psi pressure switch I got off Amazon, and works real well. And it basically works off 120 volts. So you step on that, creates a little bit of pressure in the tubing here, and it activates the switch and gets things going. And next thing I'd like to show you is how I make the flatulent sounds. This is a nice little interesting device. I don't know if you can see it on here. It's called the Fart Machine 2. I think I got it off Amazon again. You can buy them at other places like Northern Tool, things like that. But it's wirelessly activated. And the switch to operate it is right here. Push this button, it activates it. But what I've done is I've gone in and modified that switch. See if I can show you here. Where I did, I have to get the video camera off the tripod.
But if you look right here, see that? That's a little mercury switch. It's a little hard to see, but I've got it attached to this rocking chair. So when the rocking chair changes position, it activates that switch, goes and fools the circuitry in this little wireless transmitter, and operates this, which I can put anywhere I want because it's wireless. So pretty neat and a lot of fun messing with stuff like this. Now I'm going to stop this video so I can show you some other things underneath him. Okay, we've got Uncle Bubba tilted back so we can show you a few things from this end underneath the rocking chair. First of all, I wanted to point out these weights. These are actually old window, like sash weights that I got off this old house we bought. Instead of throwing them away, I just hung on to them, and I use those to kind of provide some balance, to kind of, when he activates, and it's hard to get his weight to shift just exactly the way he wants, so I just attach these here to shift that weight a little more to the front. And underneath, what we have is an air compressor. Now, this air compressor, you can see it, I hope you can. It's just an airbrush air compressor, a little built-in reservoir tank on it. Runs something like 60 psi. I got that from like AC Moore, Michaels, Hobby Lobby. I don't remember exactly which one. I'll just go wherever to find whatever I need. These two PVC pipes here with end caps on them are just homemade air reservoirs I made to help provide what I need to make this thing work correctly. And let's see if I can get over here where I can show you a little better. This unit right here is a 120 volt solenoid, and the way it works, it'll activate, put air into the air cylinders. You can see I've got all this tubing here. Rather than try to trace out everything I've got, if you just spend a little bit of time thinking about it, you'll notice I got a tube coming up here, and there's a little hard to see, but you can't really see it from here, but there's a tube going up underneath the chair. One of these operates the small air cylinder that operates his stomach, and you can see a little bit of that right here. Small one. The bigger one is really hard to see if his clothes on, but it's about an 18-inch to 2-inch one, and that's what makes him raise up off of the chair, makes him rock forward. The little one just simply makes this ball I've got, it's just a plain old kid's play ball, just pushes out on it, makes his stomach protrude when I want it to. All this really works, but as I said earlier, if I was going to do this again, I would not make him this way. I would use electric actuators. That'd be a lot simpler. The air compressors are nice, but you can't really control the position of movement very well with air cylinders. They're usually either all the way down or full stroke, and the noise of the air compressor, having to mount all that air compressor somewhere or have an external supply of air is an issue. Sometimes I attach this other little compressor just for extra air. So I would not do it this way again, but it is possible, and I thought some people might be interested in how we made him work like this. So that's basically it. And just anybody could do this. I didn't know how to do it. I started working with it and figuring things out. Get on the internet, go to the hardware stores, craft stores, get whatever you need to make it, and you can make something that works. And I believe I may have something else. That's pretty much the end of this video.